What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards. This is a soccer comic rant, and Manchester is red like the bruises on Pep's forehead. And what a derby. We're going to get into it. We're also going to talk about, we have Chris Trani here. We're going to talk about Everton just stopping Arsenal from doing anything, no set pieces, nothing. It's the only way they can score. We're going to talk about, unfortunately, Lee's team, Southampton. Coach is gone. But the weird thing about your coach being gone is like all the teams at the bottom of the league, the bottom four, all their coaches are gone. But the Manchester United coach went probably before all of them. And now our new coach is trying to keep his job and did a good job of it this weekend in the Manchester derby. I'm just trying to bring up the league standings just to make sure. Like Southampton, no coach. Wolves, no coach. Ipswich has kept their coach, and Leicester has a new coach. So yeah, everybody's going through the process. Ipswich will probably be fine, whether they get fired, because they just play competitive games and they look good. But let's get into it. So we got Chris Trani. What's up, Chris? Everton fan. How you doing? It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. When you had me, I'm also a casual Bears fan. So you were texting to come on, but I was watching the Bears. I've been watching the Bears get their ass kicked. So I'm done with that. So I'd rather come on the pod.
Everton's doing better than the Bears,
Yeah.
and they're supposed to be worse.
Yeah, exactly. So.
And we got Alex Avila. What's up, man? How you doing? You wearing a Mexican soccer jersey? What's going on?
Yeah, man. I don't know if you know, but yesterday America became the first team in Mexico that has won back to back, meaning tricampeón. I don't know I don't know what the word in English tricampeón sounds better. So 3 times in a row that we won the league, first time ever. So gotta rep it, my dad's team.
So they
how
won.
many charges have that team got against them?
Oh, they actually no, the team, the owner. It's been investigated by FIFA because they're saying that illegally he bribed FIFA employees to get the World Cup to Mexico. Yeah,
I'm not mad at him for that.
So all my teams are being investigated by FIFA.
Well, I wish he had spent more money, for God's sake. Wish he had bribed more.
How does the World Cup get to any country? Like they should stop investigating bribing. First of all,
I think the problem is just he did it with a public, he owns a company, traded in the New York Exchange. It's like a traded public company, so he used investors' money to do it. So I think that's if he would have done it with his own money, probably goes under the table. But because he used shareholders' money, that's why he got big.
But just the whole process of trying to get the World Cup to your country, like every country says, if we do it, we're going to do it like this. If we do it, we're going to do it like this. If we do it, we're going to do it. And they make these presentations. The top presentation wins, which is the top bribe of how they're going to do it.
Exactly.
And the reason why you should do it here wins. It's just like a public acceptable bribe, but it's all a bribe. So I don't even know what the big deal is. And maybe we'll have time to talk about Saudi Arabia getting the World Cup in coming up. And then we got Lee Hudson, stand-up comic, Southampton fan. It's been a rough weekend. They got 5 points. They got drubbed by 5 goals, and they're at the bottom of the table. It's probably the lowest point total in Premier League history, right? At this point of the season, is it?
No. Someone's had 2 points at this point,
Christ.
which was Sheffield United.
Damn.
What happened to them? Did they survive?
No one's ever survived with this this position. So we'll get into that.
Another team with red stripes. Haven't had a bad one. All right, so let's get into it, Alex. Let's see. Let's talk about this derby. Do we have 2 teams in Manchester, both of them in a transition phase? City is definitely at the end of a cycle, and hopefully United is at the beginning of a regeneration cycle. But, we have had some injuries. I think most of our players are healthy now, except for Mason Mount. Mason Mount played 2 seconds of the game and then sat down on the pitch and was like, sub me out. And it's been a tragic, as far as injury-wise, like to have him at the club, it's like a waste of money. He hasn't played barely any games for Ten Hag, and just he's on like pace to like play the same little amount of games for Amarin. But you know you're injured when Luke Shaw is like, hey man, get your shit together. Stop getting injured. Like that's how bad Mason Mount is injured. But despite that, we lost him early in the game. And we lost him early in the game. But even when I saw the starting lineup, let me just go to the starting lineup. I was like, oh, we got a chance. Just based on the lineup that City put out and how those players in that lineup have been playing. Like I looked at that midfield and I was like, I wasn't like, oh, they got De Bruyne, they got Gundogan, and they got Bernardo Silva. I was like, oh, a bunch of old guys. And then I looked at our midfield. I was like, oh, these young guys should be able to run circles because I know we got skill. We just need the confidence and to be motivated to use that skill. And we have that type of manager. And then, so that gave me some confidence. And even though Rashford and Garnacho weren't even in the squad, they didn't travel, and there's some issues, which hopefully we'll have time to get into that. I was like, that's still a good front. You know, like you got Ugarte, you got Bruno, people I trust with the ball, and you have Ahmad, who basically won the game by himself, and I trust Hoyland right now and everything that he's doing and how much he wants it, and so and I liked our Maguire is suspect as far as our back line, but in a back three, you trust him more. He trusts himself more. He plays with more confidence. So I that's just from the starting lineups. I like that. How'd you start or watching the game, or how'd you feel?
From the lineups?
Yeah, just from the lineups. So if you want to take it further and just go into the game and how
Well,
you lost, that's
yeah,
fine too.
no, just so I mean the lineups obviously like he was gonna be, it was I didn't know what the lineup was because I heard like I read the lineup and I was like, okay, so we don't have a left back, so that's interesting. Is he gonna Bernardo Silva has played left back in the past. I was like, maybe he's gonna put Bernardo as a left back, but I don't think Bernardo wants to play left back. He wasn't happy playing left back last time. So it's Nunez playing left back. Or I don't know. I just thought maybe why not just have Guardiola, who's like a be left back, and maybe drops. I don't know. I was just really didn't know who was gonna be the left back. Game started. Yeah, I think the game started, and I don't know if you watch the game live and stuff, and I feel like the narrators, commentators, they made it seem like City was like playing better than United. You know, I feel like they kept saying like United wasn't doing much. And I was like, none of these teams are doing much. Like they're both not doing anything. So when obviously like this, yeah, we scored on a corner, which I think like I think you guys got jinxed because the guy said United's a team that has got given more goals in corners, and next play you guys get scored on a corner. So like you guys got jinxed on that one, and. But yeah, I don't think it was like deserved. Like City didn't deserve to go in the lead. I don't think we were playing brilliant. Wasn't anything like we were not really building anything. We had the ball, but it's just like every other game. Like we have the ball, we touch the ball, we're cycling it, but it's not really it's just nothing like I don't know. I think like there's no we lost the spark. Every player the team, like I think I mentioned to you, like it's like somebody went like imagine you're playing FIFA and somebody pranked you and went into the settings and just reduced all the players' ratings.
Oh shit!
These guys don't look the same, man. These guys don't look the same. They're not from every player. Like there's not a player that I feel like it's right now other level that was like a year ago. So you're kind of right. I think we're coming to like an end of a cycle. I feel like some players is probably the last season, and yeah, we score. Game was pretty. I feel like 40 minutes of just United players would probably just wanted the game to end. City players were trying to get in the end. Uh, Nunez kind of again he's not a left back, so I cannot put a lot of blame on that. But I think that pass was just a silly pass. and then he gave away a stupid PK. I think like if the game ties, the game draws, I probably obviously would have been happy because that was silly. But I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I don't think either team did much to be the winner of this match. But then, yeah, I think like Ahmad showed the potential that what you guys signed him. I think he's showing game after game. He's showing that he can be a good asset and won the game for you guys.
When you mention Ahmad, it makes me think of Ten Hag and the frustration of Ten Hag not playing him. And it's like Ten Hag probably would have a job today if he played Ahmad more. Just last season, because he would have had less losses, and this season, like this guy is not just doing this now. He had this, and in limited exposure last season, he did enough for everybody to be like, yo, why isn't this guy on the pitch when we have people losing the ball, can't retain the ball, have no intensity, and they not at it. So then now I like what Ruben Amorim is doing. A lot of people complain about like these heavy rotations and using the whole squad, but for a guy that just got to a league, he knows what time it is in December. He knows the heavy amount of games that are about to be played, and he's rotating as if he's been here before. He's never coached in this league before, but he's adapted to it before he's even gotten here. So, we have fresh players. I want to give props to United in this game for having a 50% of the possession of the ball at the empty had, to be that brave there. And sometimes nothing was happening with it, but you got to hold on to the ball. You can't give it to City and let them try to damage us. So the bravery to do that. And I like to just, another thing that made me feel a little confident when I saw the lineup was like, he played players that, the thing with United, like we have low running stats, like 16 in the league, but the players on the pitch were the at it team. Like these are the players you can count on to like run, and which gave us a good chance. Like De Ligt, he be at it, Martinez, he be at it, Mazwari, he be at it, Fernandez at it, Ugarte had a great game, he be at it. He wants it, Delot, he doesn't always make the best decisions, but he be at it. Like he's not shy to like make runs and go into places.
That lot made Walker look bad. Like there was like 2-3 plays like he I don't know, I don't know if it's a confidence or something, but he basically tried to dribble past Walker twice.
Mhm.
And like I feel like I don't know what Walker has lost it. I mean, definitely he's lost it, but I think he used to command respect. You only like Mbappe, only like Vinicius will try to dribble this guy. Every other player would feel like, I'm not gonna pass Walker. I go back, but he passed twice to him, and I was like, man, that lot is taking you. I think like it's time to, I don't know, man, go to MLS.
I mean, I mean, Walker embarrassed himself by just flopping on the floor like that, and that's like
That's
an
true. That's
indication
true.
of like, hey, that's not something City would do when they were in their winning era. So that just lets me know, as one of the leaders of the team and sometimes captain, if he's flopping to the ground to try to cheat to get decisions, that's some lower table shit. And he was acting like he played for Sheffield, when he did that. So that's a telling moment of him doing that flop, trying to cheat.
I like the little joke. I like the little joke that you wrote for your boy Holland.
What?
Did
Oh
you
yeah,
like the caption?
yeah. That's
That had Ian written all over it.
I mean, I didn't write it, but that was class. But just going back to like the players that were at it, like, and Mount didn't get to do anything, but Mount usually presses. But what Mount going out the game made them bring in Mainu, which is like under Ten Hag, or we just haven't had the capability to bring in players like that. And then we had Anthony. He knows he has to play well now. He can't just don't get these multiple run of bad games. So when he comes in, he's more thoughtful with the ball, and he had something to do with one of the goals, and that's something you could hardly say last year or the beginning of this year. So he's been better, and I like what we had on our bench and what we had going. So I just want to give United props. For and I can hear Kojo upstairs. So I'm just trying to text him.
Alex, I am curious
He
to
was
hear,
go ahead.
if you don't mind me
Yeah.
butting in, Ian. I am curious to hear, like, what are your thoughts on Man City getting out of this, other than a lot of this turnover? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what are your
Yeah,
this is wild to see, right?
I was telling like I was actually like I watched a game with one of my buddies. Like he basically calls me and stuff, and like we're just kind of watch like FaceTiming and stuff. He's like, dude, this is not the same team. It's just it seems like kind of to be honest, I don't even think Pep knows. I think like I thought it was gonna be like a question of just winning. You win 1-2 games, and during December, City normally it's their best month, right? They start winning games and they're like going a crazy run, and all of a sudden we won 7 games. I think like now it's a combination of all the things that we didn't really do in the past. Like we didn't have a. I think like we obviously like not having Rodri, but not having a backup of Rodri. Then us selling Palmer, selling Julian. So I think like all the mistakes that you normally do in a season, they're all shown. Everything's kind of being like, you let go Palmer, you let go Julian Alvarez. You didn't get a replacement for Rodri. Your squad's getting older. Everybody has found out the system of like if you park the bus against City, they're gonna pass the ball around. I think teams know that now. I think teams know that if I play defensively and we're comfortable, let's just City try to create, let's force an error, and we have lost games like that. Teams just counter attacking us. So
Yeah.
I don't, to be honest, I don't know what it is. I don't know how we're gonna get out of this. Maybe we're on the winter break. We go buy some players, and that maybe sparks something. Having like knowing that you have to if we're gonna replace you if you don't do it. But I don't know. I think like it looks we're not nothing like 4 or 5 months ago, which is the scary part. It's like the same team.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys, it's like even though we beat you up there and it's a Manchester derby, I still will look at like the type of form you guys are in, and it's not great. And 2 more games like this, and I'll be like, y'all can't turn this around. It's impossible. But you still are within range because Liverpool dropped points this weekend, and so did Arsenal. And so, but this looks bad, and it's startling. It's like I can't even believe what I'm not seeing from City right now. It's pretty bananas. Lee, you got anything to say? You want to kick him while he's down, while you're down?
It's a bit of a crazy one. Like I've only really watched the highlights of that game because I was driving to the stadium for the Southampton game, listening to the Manchester derby on the radio, and I parked my car up towards the end of the game. And by the time I walked 10 minutes to the stadium, it had gone from 1-0 to 2-1. So I missed both the United goals. I was like, what the hell happened here? And then, I got home, watched it later on. And I mean, it's good performance from United. You stayed in the game. I think it should have been a penalty earlier for the challenge on Højlund from Diaz.
Mm-hmm. That's judo.
Yeah. It's a leg sweep. Like he sort of wrapped the leg across him and then took him down. That was it was mystifying why that one wasn't given. But just quality for you guys to keep going till the end. And I mean, stroke of luck, I think, with Ahmad's goal that the defenders couldn't sort their feet out to actually get that one clear, because that's one that should be dealt with, I think. But you got to take advantage of those, and the City penalty the one that was given to you guys against City was just stupid from the defender. There's been so many stupid penalties conceded by teams in recent weeks, like the Spurs ones against Chelsea last week. Like defenders are just running into people and diving in like there's no tomorrow. And like these are things I would be like angry about from amateur players, let alone Premier League players. But makes things interesting. I'm all for City struggling. It's been a long time coming. I don't like fans having it too good for too long. I like other people to feel some pain and feel what it's like to be real fans, not just winning 4 leagues in a row and a Champions League and stuff. Like, come on, have some have a little slice of suffering. It's funny watching fans lose their shit because they're only fourth or whatever, or only third or whatever. It's like you don't know what the real
Well,
suffering's like. So it's
I
nice to
feel
see
like
people
now
get a
like
little bit of it.
City fans are like actually feel like now we're like losing our shit like with like kind of like a reason. Like this week we played Juventus in Champions League and it was just an embarrassment. Like it was just uh I mean I love Weston McKennie, but Weston McKennie was like I was like, dude, how come you play like this when you play for the US? He scored a bicycle kick. He was playing one of the games of his life against City. So it's just like it's been. I think like if we don't beat PSG, whoever wins against PSG City, it's gonna be eliminated. Like I don't think like I read something like a draw doesn't help anyone. So it's either gonna be PSG or City going down on the champions, which is
Damn.
like so. Yeah, I like this format actually. I feel like this Champions League format it's nice because every game kind of counts, kind of matters. But now, yeah, it's either City or PSG advancing.
When is this game? Next year or this year?
It's next year. Like that's a good thing, I guess, because so we give us some time to prepare. Uh, because yeah, man, like we would have been out like if it was next week.
Damn. So yeah, I feel like the game said it all, and we've wrapped up this part of the conversation. I'm glad that Manchester is red. I'm proud of the boys. I can see what Ruben Amorim is doing. I can see like the formation, and hopefully this thing just continues to grow as momentum picks up. We got a tough game this weekend at home versus Bournemouth. There might be some growing pains in that game. Like Bournemouth, they just, I just saw them play West Ham, and West Ham barely got away with a point. So, and they've beaten some of the top teams. So we'll see what happens next week.
I've got to ask you about Rashford and Garnacho though.
All right, what you want to ask?
What are the thoughts on it? Like, is Rashford done?
Listen, I don't mind if he goes, and I love the guy. I don't mind if he goes because it's been frustrating watching him for like a year and a half not give his all. You know how you could tell whether you were a Liverpool fan or not that Steven Gerrard was giving his all, or Wayne Rooney was giving his all, or Tevez was out there giving his all. Like when you've seen that for decades, you can tell when somebody's not giving his all, especially in English football where sometimes people lack skill, but they would give their all. And that's what people loved about them. Like Rashford bails out of so many 50-50s and pretends to want the ball, and you could tell he doesn't, and the other team gets it. And those things like, create pressure for other teammates, or he's giving away an opportunity to like attack and go forward and create something for us. And it's just, I don't like that. Like there was a game where he scored 2 goals and I feel like he still didn't give his all. And that was recently. So it's like I don't need that. And Garnacho, he's young and he's an idiot. And if he's the one really between him and his brother leaking the lineups, that's sabotage, fam. That's espionage. Like that's treason. And it's like so childish. And I know it's a different era and age, like different things are unimportant to different ages that they were important to other. But that is like how do you not know that's criminal? People have been complaining about the leaking of the lineup for a minute now, and you got to know it's a terrible thing to do. And especially when the whole organization is struggling. We have the Dan Ashworth thing. It's if he's I hope he's not doing that. But if he's doing that, like I don't even know if I want him to play for us anymore.
Yeah.
Were you gonna say something, Chris?
No, I mean, I actually did just Google Marcus Rashford's age because I'm like, what is it? But he's 27, so it's not like he's not like, and I say this as an Evertonian. We've got Ashley Young, who's like 39, and he's honestly probably playing our best player this season. So, yeah, I think it's some kind of will, or could it be? I've heard this too. Could it be that Marcus Rashford is in fact overrated?
He's talented. He's
Yeah, I
talented.
think I think he is talented. I think he's just come to the point where he needs a change of scenery. But I think like it's just gone a bit stale. And you look at like Amorim's system as well, and Rashford can't play the 9 in that system. He can't play as one of the 2 10s because he doesn't operate in that area, and he can't play as a wing back because he's not got the same sort of profile as like Ahmad has. So it's like where can he play in that system? Like he needs to play in a front 3 off the left where he can cut inside onto his right foot. But I think you need to find a team that has that system that is willing to pay £350,000 a week and whatever transfer fee United wants. And all of a sudden, the options for him being able to leave, even if you like want to sell him, like the options of people that would want to take him, I think are looking very slim. I know he's been linked with PSG in the past. He was like a potential Mbappe replacement, but like they've got Barcola there doing things now. So yeah, I don't really know where he goes, if he would lower his expectations wages wise. He doesn't strike me as the sort of player that would just like disappear off to Saudi Arabia after this. I feel like he would probably still want to play for at least another 3 or 4 years somewhere in Europe at the top level. But if he does go, yeah, it'd be interesting to see where and who would want to take that financial punt on him. But I think there is a good player in there. I think if his head's right and he's on it, like he's in the right system, he's capable of being an absolutely electric player. But it's whether someone can unlock that again.
Yeah, it's definitely a head thing, It's definitely a head thing. And he needs to go. Like, Scott McTominay's thriving in Italy. He's at the top of the league, had a dope assist to an ex-teammate from Manchester United, Lukaku, this weekend. He scored a ton of goals. Like, maybe go to Italy or something. There's so many ex-Premier League players thriving there. I know they won't pay any money for him. It's almost like selling somebody to Turkey. But I want him to win somewhere else, but he's not doing it for us, so can't have him there. Everton versus Arsenal. How'd you go into this match? But how much fear did you go into this match, and how much amazement did you leave the match with?
Ian, that is the question, right? This is the team that, no offense, gave Southampton their only win, of the season. And yet, so here's
it's hilarious.
You would not believe, this is what it's like to be an Everton fan. This is our December, right? We're going up against Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, and on December 1st we had Man United, right? So we were like, this is the month from hell. We're in a relegation battle. Like this is what's happening. Yes, Man U did whoop us 4-0. But then somehow we beat the Wolves. We learned how to score a goal. Derby game against LFC Liverpool, rain out, delayed. And then we tied
Storm. That Storm is definitely an Everton fan.
The Storm is an Everton fan. So we celebrated a tie with Arsenal like we won the FA Cup.
Hilarious.
I mean, dude, and it's so funny. I went and checked on like Arsenal Reddit groups. They are so angry.
That's how disrespectful they are of Everton, that they're pissed that they only tied with you at home. This is an L to them. And
there's some Arsenal fan TV meltdowns as well over the weekend from this, from a draw.
There's a couple Instagram reels where like Jordan Pickford's taking forever to pick up the ball, and the Arsenal fans, he killed their mother. So it was wild. There's so much to say on this, Ian. Like, so here's like, yes, we tied Arsenal 0-0 and picked up a point, which was huge for us. But even more so, like, I don't know if anyone knows this, how much y'all are paying attention to our little club, but to the small club in Liverpool. But we're getting bought right now by some American billionaire, the Friedkin Group. It's like
Mhm.
Dan Friedkin and his son. And actually, like I think the transaction's supposed to possibly even become official on Wednesday. Like I think Farhad Moshiri is gonna meet the Friedkin Group in the parking lot and hand them the key. You know? It's gonna be like a yard worker set of keys and I don't know a beer keg pump, but it's probably the net worth of no, but I mean it's huge, right? So we're getting rid of Farhad Moshiri, and so it just feels like the entire club is holding right now, like it literally feels like as a club we're just holding, like we're literally like I sent my brothers like the gif of like I don't know if you guys watch the Lord of the Rings, but it's like when
Yeah.
the castle's getting bombarded and the king's just like hold. um
Do you think
Go ahead.
do you think like, because you're talking about that parking lot exchange deal,
Yeah.
and it's going to go down on Wednesday, that a part of the speech that Sean Dyche is like, hey man, we can't fuck up the sale. We have to look sexy enough for this deal to go by. After Wednesday, do whatever you want, players. But right now, look viable, look appealing,
Right.
make these trick the Freaking Group into believing that they're getting something good. They don't know nothing about football, but a draw against Arsenal, even they'll know it is a win.
That's exactly it. It's like the Friedkin Group thinks they're drinking water, but it's vodka. You know? It's dude. So if you're looking for an entertaining thing, like I swear to God, the game was actually kind of fascinating for soccer heads out there. Like literally, I wrote this down and I texted this to my brothers. The commentator said that the Everton style of football was not nice to watch. Right? Basically, and it's very funny. We don't play offense at all. We play like Dyche ball is like this like wall-to-wall defense for 90 minutes. He loves a clean sheet. So we literally, I don't know if you guys watch hockey at all. We literally just punt the ball down to the other end and they start in their end. And you can see Arsenal being like, here we go again. And just bring the ball.
Did anybody watch the highlights of that game?
Yeah.
It's hilarious because it's like the highlights were 6 minutes. It was 6 minute highlights. The NBC 6 minute highlights, and 2 minutes and 40 seconds was the team lineups. So the highlights are 6 minutes and only 2 minutes and 40 seconds for the lineups, a sub and a yellow card. And I was like, give me the extended version. And it was an extra 30 seconds.
And they're like,
highlight.
oh damn.
I mean, it's basically like defense, tackles, punting the ball. And I read one blog that called it all around shithousery. So
the thing is, Arsenal are one of the funniest teams to go and do that to. Just because of how their fans react. I love how Arsenal fans, like their fans will react like they're like these moral arbiters of football when a team shithouses them and plays behind the ball. But then there's other games when Arsenal will do that and play ugly. And yeah, it's never on them if they do it. But yeah, I was enjoying that. It's yeah, I kind of wanted Arsenal to win just because I want a title race. I don't want to see Liverpool just like steam off into the distance. But I mean, they drop points as well, so that's a really big miss for Arsenal not to pick up 3.
Yeah, I'm learning how much I don't like Arsenal fans by these results.
Yeah,
like sometimes I try to watch the game neutrally. And it's like, especially if they're playing somebody like Everton, where I don't need anything from Everton, a win or loss wise, to help United. And Arsenal so far ahead of us, it doesn't matter if they win or lose. So I'm trying to be neutral, but every time they drop points or lose, I get hyped, and I know I'm going to Arsenal fan TV afterwards, and I'm going to have some fun because those guys take it hard, man. They take it like they take it like the wrong person just came from behind the curtain in Love Is Blind, and they should have picked the other one.
I've been seeing like Arteta out for the past couple of games, and like that's how you guys said like you guys wanted this is the next Pep or something, guys.
there's no loyalty, man. Like
Yeah.
people want people. I've heard, has there been Pep out
Yeah,
talk?
no, yeah. There's definitely.
That's
There's
and
Pep out talk for
yeah,
real.
and then people are like
Yeah.
saying racist things to Kyle Walker. Like Kyle
Yeah.
Walker has done so much for that badge. Like you that's where you go as soon as his age showed up, like way past the time it should have showed up. And he's been so solid. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people lost respect for Walker on Saturday. That was wild. I know we already talked about it, but that was pretty wild, you know. So
It's wild, but I've seen it. I guess English players don't really do that. I guess it's more like an Eastern European type of thing, like the fake. Because or Suarez, if you get within an inch of Luis Suarez from that used to play for Liverpool, and he's going down.
yeah,
So
I think that should be a red card. I think if you are caught diving in football, you should get a red card.
you should have at least
like
gotten a yellow.
even a retrospective one if they if it's clear on the video afterwards.
Yeah.
Like Cucurella and Walker should both be getting bans.
Yeah, Cucurella. Oh man, talk about well, he had a good game for Chelsea this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, he scored.
Seriously,
And
did you feel there was gonna be a PK in the last minute? Because when I saw that play, I was like, man, they're gonna that I know they're gonna give a PK to Arsenal. Like I feel it, and so I was surprised, pleasantly surprised to be like, yes, please don't give it.
That tackle, if you may not have seen it in the highlights, Lee or Ian, like basically like Mikolenko, Arsenal player's going down. He's in the box. Classic Everton player. Now, Mikolenko actually held the record, I think, for a period last season for like takeaways for taking the ball away, like tackling the ball away. So it's Mikolenko, and he did it. He did it right. The VAR got the right call, but no, you nailed it. It was classic Evertonian. I was like, here we go. Here we go. We're about to snatch a point away from Arsenal, and some friggin' Everton players. Everton's gonna Everton. I say that every time I'm on this podcast. But yeah, I totally thought it was. For once, the refs didn't absolutely just, wank us. But so it was good. It's good. Good question. Next question.
I was happy for your point. I like Sean Dyche.
Yeah.
I've seen the Everton fans turn on him early in the season, especially when you lost that lead to Brighton, and then you had like a bunch of runs of games where you like drop a full 3 points, like 3 games in a row.
Yeah.
But even though they know that Sean Dyche's teams start slow and pick up, which they seem to be picking up now, and I'm glad they didn't pick up against United.
Yeah.
It's like for the Everton fans who wanted Sean Dyche out, and for the ones that still do, who you gonna get?
Right.
Who you gonna get?
Right.
Like, if Sean Dyche gets fired today, like Wolves will take him, Southampton will take him, even some of the teams that just switch coaches would fire that new coach and take him. This guy belongs.
I tell you who we're getting. We're getting Eric Ten Hag. That's who we're getting. No, I couldn't agree more. I actually am not in the fire Dyche camp. I'm lukewarm on him because of so much he's done. He really is our hold the gates guy. I mean, he's just a defensive minded guy. I can't, and this is the thing, everyone is writing our striker Dominic Calvert-Lewin hard. And it's like, dude, they expect us to like punt this ball down and it's going to land on his feet. Turns into Pele or Messi. And it's like that. He's Dominic Calvert. He's fine. But it's like, he can't take on an entire, Man U or Arsenal defense. And honestly, like if soccer were like hockey, Everton would get busted for icing every time.
Hilarious.
So, yeah, I know.
So we're all gonna move on to Lee, and I don't know. I feel like we should kind of console him or something. I mean, he should get clowned just because it's football and it's banter. But I feel bad, man. But still, you've kept on to your coach longer than United held on to our coach, and we won. Like Pep might get fired a week after your coach. That's how bad.
I gotta
season's
hop. I
gone.
gotta hop. But can I ask real quick, just
Mhm.
as an origin story, like Lee, how did you choose this club, man? Like,
Why'd you ask
I
him like that?
sorry.
So disrespectful.
I was born and raised in the county of Hampshire, which is where Southampton are from.
Yeah.
I wasn't from the city, but like the city's always been nearby. It's like the closest Premier League team. When I was a kid, it was they were the nearest well, not even Premier League team. They're one of the nearest like professional clubs. So it was a geography thing. All the kids, like even where I was from, like not many kids in my school supported Southampton. It was mainly like United and Chelsea and Tottenham and Arsenal fans, some Liverpool fans as well. But it was a location thing. I took my local club, and I've been suffering for it ever since.
Location, misery. All right, that happens. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for having me.
Peace. Thanks for
See you
coming
later,
through,
Chris.
fam. So yeah, man, how you feeling? You know,
I mean, part of me's feeling sad, just because he's a manager that gave us some good times. We got promoted. The Championship playoff final at Wembley was was a great day out. And when he came into the club, there was a real toxic atmosphere after 3 managers the previous season, relegation from the Premier League. Everything was very disjointed. And in that Championship season, he put a good squad together. He got all the fans on side. The mood around the club changed, and I just feel like sad that it didn't work out at this level for him. I mean, not just sort of personal sadness for me for us being bad and losing games, but like I wanted it to work out because he's a good guy. And it felt almost uncomfortable seeing like the fans turn on him in like a personal sense. Like it felt really like because at the game, I mean, it was toxic. It was one of the most toxic atmospheres I've been part of at a game for a long time. And yeah, it was sad that it ended in such a brutal fashion. And he had his principles and how he wanted to play football and wasn't very adaptable. And I think that was ultimately his downfall, because the Premier League's unforgiving, and you've got to you've got to be humble enough, I think, to tweak what you're doing for the sake of getting results. Because if you don't have long to get those results in the Premier League. And I think he was given probably longer than he should have been by the board, because they liked him and they liked him as a person and what he had done for the club and what he was doing. So he probably hung on longer than he should have. And I mean, Spurs probably did us a favour in the end, because a change was needed. As much as I didn't want it to come to that, it's the last few weeks have just been showing us that nothing was going to change. That this was how it was going to be. And I don't think anyone's going to come in and keep us up because of the position we're in. 5 points from a possible 48 is that's it doesn't get much worse.
From a possible 48.
Yeah. There's been 16 fixtures now, so that's it's not good. And it's almost an impossible position. If someone wants to come in and keep us up, they need to almost sort of run out with like title winning form for the remainder of the season. And that's just not going to happen with this squad of players, because that's the other problem as well. The board need to shoulder some of the blame for the recruitment, because they've not recruited many players that are Premier League quality, in my opinion, in some real key areas as well. Like the defense is bad. Like we were in the Championship, we barely kept a clean sheet, and we would throw away games with defensive mistakes in the Championship, and we just kept the exact same defensive sort of core, that Bednarek, Stevens, and Harwood Bellis. And like Harwood Bellis, I think, has probably got the most promise out of all of them. He's the youngest. He's the England under-21 captain. He's now got a full cap. And we brought in a couple of like backup centre backs. Like Nathan Wood's been playing okay for us recently, but he's not a starter much of the time. And Chakravarty came in as a fullback, but yeah, we don't have the quality up top either. We've bemoaned it the last 2 weeks. Porro was sat kicking his heels for half a season. His injury came at a bad time after he had a good performance against Liverpool, and he wasn't fit to start this game, so he was on the bench. But yeah, it's just, so I think the recruitment needs looking at. The game itself was just a horrible experience, because as soon as that first goal went in, like straight from kickoff, pretty much like 37 seconds or 36 seconds, immediately everyone was booing. The next goal goes in a few minutes later.
It's like they came ready to like.
Yeah. Oh, they smelt blood, and let's not forget as well that this was a patched up Tottenham team. They had Archie Gray playing centre back, who is a centre midfielder or a right back or a backup right back. He's not even a centre back. They had him centre back. They had the kid Lucas Bergvall, the Swedish kid, in centre midfield, who doesn't normally get to start games. He was playing like CDM, like in the heart of the midfield. They had Jed Spence playing his first ever Premier League game, despite signing 2.5 years ago. And he looked good.
He
to
had
be
a
fair,
great. He had a
Spence
great
was
assist.
good. Yeah, like he's like, he's a good footballer, and he's quick, and he's strong, and he's tall as well. Like he's got everything. Like he's an athlete and a footballer. And I don't know how they've not turned to him before in 2.5 years. That's crazy. But yeah, they just came out. They smelt blood. The fans were going insane when the third one went in. So you can imagine how much worse it got on the fourth and the fifth. Like fans
Was
were
that
getting
the
kicked.
Sun one? Was the Sun one the third one?
I can't even remember. I think it was
the barrage.
Yeah, it was just like I was in I was like a boxer that had just been like hit with a combo or something.
You don't know where the punches. Like the ref might have hit you.
Fans were getting kicked out because they were like, because I was sitting like right behind the dugouts, the technical areas, and fans were like coming down the stands to get to the front to try and abuse the manager. And like the stewards were like wrestling with him and kicking him out, and like fans were trying to fight with the stewards. Some fans were just walking out. It was just a horrible atmosphere that first half. And then second half, I think, was just a mercy job from Tottenham. Like they completely took their foot off the gas and was kind of like, we want to make sure we get out of here alive as well, because this place might turn into a riot if we keep scoring goals. And yeah, I mean, credit to our fans second half. Like they were singing for the team the whole second half, even though there wasn't much to sing about. And the manager was still getting a little bit of abuse, which was sad. And then, but you could just tell, like, as soon as those goals were going in the first half and the atmosphere was turning, I was like, oh, this is it. This is his last game. I can't see this going any other way. And that's horrible when during the game, like during the first half as well.
Of course.
Of course.
Hey, Lee, I just gotta really quickly say that I don't like that you made me a Southampton fan, man, because normally when like you said, right, if I have City winning, I have City winning, but I have two teams losing, so this is not good for me, man. So I'm gonna have to just go to City. If City's gonna continue doing bad, I cannot be a City and a Southampton fan, man. But yeah, but so
yeah, don't ever try and support us. That's not going to work out well for you. But yeah, man. Oh, it was just a horrible game, and now we're on the manager search. There's not many good options for us because of the position we're in. We're never going to attract the sort of manager I want, which would be like a Potter or Roger Schmidt or someone like that. Like they're just not going to touch us, because whoever it is, they need to be prepared to be managing Championship football. See you there, Alex. Need to be prepared to be managing Championship football next season. So the two names that are mainly in the frame right now are the favourite right now is Kasper Hjulmand, who was the Denmark manager for the last 4 years. So he managed them at the Euros, managed them at the World Cup. He's not done too much in club football. Like he managed a team called, I think I'm probably going to fuck the pronunciation up. If we got any Danish listeners, correct me. There's a team called Nordsjælland or something like that in Denmark. He won them their first ever Danish league and got them into the Champions League. So he did that in Denmark, but then he had to follow Thomas Tuchel at Mainz in the Bundesliga. He took that job and it went terribly. So and then he went back to his Danish club for a bit. So he's out there. There's one of our key people in our board structure is Danish. Rasmus Ankersen, who used to be at Brentford. So might be trying to turn us into the new Brentford, get a Danish manager and sign some Danish players, who knows. But the other main candidate is Danny Rowe, who was Hasenhüttl's assistant for the first season with us. And then he left to go and join Hansi Flick's staff at Bayern Munich. And then went to Sheffield Wednesday in his first managerial job and kept them up last season against all odds. So he might be a good pick. But
is he still with them, Sheffield Wednesday?
Yeah, he's still there. Yeah, he's got them performing above expectations with a limited budget in the Championship. So he knows the Championship now, which is, I mean, whoever manages us next, it'd be good if they know the Championship, because that's where they're going to be next season. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see what happens this week. Our under-21s manager is going to take the Carabao Cup quarter-final against Liverpool. I'm not expecting anything there. I just want to see some fight, give them a game. And then we'll see when this appointment comes, because we got a lot of games coming up as well. So they're not going to get much time on the training field, because it's going to be, the whole Christmas period. So they're going to have to learn on the job about the players in the games.
Right. And then Martin joined, perfect timing. We were talking about you guys, Lee's talking about after being battered by Spurs. And we just got to Spurs. We talked about Man United, the derby. We talked about Everton. Trani was on. And we talked about Arsenal dropping points. And then Lee's on. We're trying to talk him through this funeral. And then you jump on. What's your thoughts and points on the game of battering? I mean, like first half with a bunch of substitutes, children running through the stripes of Southampton and getting their coach fired.
Yeah, I didn't take any pleasure really from that, to be quite honest with you, because it's, and I don't mean it as a in any way insulting. It felt like a kid in a school that is being bullied by a bigger bully, bullying the smallest kid in the class, for a revenge. So that's what it felt like. I would rather want to see that from Tottenham against, for example, Chelsea last week, than in this particular game. And as long as they don't show consistency that they can play like this every single week, I'm not going to change my opinion based on one game, because we've seen that. I mean, they beat City, they beat United,
Martin, this is progress for you. You finally beat a bad team.
Yeah, but really bad team like that. That's like a really, really bad team. And actually, I agree with what Lee wrote on the chat, that we might have done a favor to them, because it feels like this was going nowhere, and now they have a chance to make a good hire potentially. I like actually David Moyes for them. I think if they hire David Moyes can put up a fight to stay up. Probably you need some changes. There is some talent on the team, but yeah, I've seen my boy Bednarek with the second goal. That was kind of a joke what he did. It's a lot of individual mistake. It seems like this team is not really practicing very well, because those are pretty simple mistakes they're making. And the first goal even, and for us, look, Porro is not playing. They put this guy that never plays on the right side, and he's much better defensively. Like immediately, the whole team is defending much better. Porro is a liability. I hope he's not playing anymore for us, at least not as a right back, because he's such a liability. And it showed against Chelsea. Now we play without Porro, and we're playing Southampton, and Southampton in the second half, Dibbling, I think, created like 2 chances. So there was an opportunity to actually score. We could have scored more too, but that's not the point. The point is the defensive game. But still, I think we're better off without Porro. And I like this Norwegian kid in the middle. I think he was excellent. But at the same time, we played a broken team. We played a team that was at the end of the rope, as proven by firing the manager. And we probably helped them to start to have a new, better start. Because I think that's when it starts for Southampton. The season starts now for Southampton, and hopefully it will go better. And I think it will, with the right appointment, with the right manager, experienced veteran manager like David Moyes. I think can still keep Southampton up. Just because some other teams are also very bad, like Wolverhampton.
Yeah, I think we're done, and I don't think Moyes is the guy to get us promoted from the Championship. So we need to hire for that.
If I was Moyes, I would take that job.
I agree with you. Moyes, if we had a chance of still staying in the league, Moyes wouldn't be a bad hire because he's done that battle before. But I don't think long term he'd be right. And at the moment, like I say, whoever we hire needs to be someone that can manage a team at the top of the league next year. But it sounds like our board are intent on a foreign manager. So, like I say, I think Hewland is the favourite.
Adjustment period. If that's the case, that will take adjustment period for a more Brentford. That means that they really think it's over, and I don't like if the board thinks like that. If I was the board, I would like still try to salvage the season.
Oh yeah, I mean they're going to be trying to win games, but I think it's done. They'll say they're trying to do it, but yeah, it's going to be interesting who they appoint, and I don't know if they'll get it right. But that'll be a long-term thing that we find out rather than in the short term.
Well, let me ask a question. What do you need? What type of coach do you need? Because you guys are trying to play out the back and too open in the Premier League. So everybody was like, and you were just saying that he wouldn't tweak the style, which would be, when you say tweak, what did you want him to tweak it to?
I think we needed like a little bit more pragmatism because we were too open on transitions. So if we lose the ball, we were just wide open, and the way we played was quite expansive. We were terrible defending set pieces all season. We've been bad on that, and I think game management as well, being able to switch the system in game to being like, there were games where we had gone ahead, and then we couldn't switch it to be more solid for a few minutes. Like, there were games where we would score and then we would concede immediately. And it'd just be like, come on, like this. I think some of it's mentality wise as well, defensively. I think there was so much focus on what we did with the ball that maybe things were getting neglected out of possession in terms of where the team were being set up. And some of the players were in the team pretty much just for their in possession abilities, not necessarily for what they could do. Yeah, so I think a lot of what the manager was trying to do is very idealistic. And sometimes in the Premier League or in football in general, you have to be a realist as well and accept the limitations of certain people and give the team what they need, not necessarily what you want as a coach.
So is this Sheffield guy, right, who's number one in the running, can he give you those things that you need? Or is he an attacking guy too?
No,
because you don't want to switch to an expansive coach.
He can be pragmatic. His teams play football, but he was educated in Germany in the whole like pressing style. So he's one of those guys. So he can get that. But the favorite at the moment is he's number 2, Danny Roll, the Sheffield Wednesday manager. The favorite for the job right now is Kasper Hjulmand, the ex-Denmark national team manager. So who knows? Maybe we'll get him and he'll take Christian Eriksen from you guys because you don't need him anymore. But I don't know too much about his style. Like I know he got Denmark to like was it a semi-final? He got Denmark pretty deep.
I think a quarterfinal because I can't remember.
Yeah.
But
I mean, from what I've very limited amounts I've heard on him. Like he plays like sort of attacking-ish, but not like he's not the same as what we've just had go out with Russell Martin. So it'll be interesting to see if whoever we get what they do, because I don't think we can go fully the other way because the squad's not built for that, and that would just be weird if we had someone come in and we're trying to park the bus and just play direct every game. But I think there's
you think that would be weird?
Yeah, because with the squad isn't set up to do that, and I think it'd be too much of a departure. I think we need a more pragmatic version where there's still some freedom to play football and still some attacking intent, but with a bit more risk aversion added to what we were doing previously. So that's a hard job for whoever comes in and tries to take up that mantle.
All right.
I think you just guys should be pragmatic and try to appoint someone who will still, because it's like, listen, like when you look at the points, sure, if you compare it to other seasons, it's a horrific season, but there are some bad teams alongside you guys. There are some bad teams that you can, with the right manager, and if you go on a winning streak, you can potentially leapfrog those teams. You're not going to finish 10th, but there's still a small chance that you can finish 17th. And that's all you need. And then you can build something for next year, make some changes and create a team. But I would still try to salvage the season, and hire a pragmatic, someone like the guy who manages Everton, someone like that, a pragmatic manager that will just organize the defense and try to get those 1-0 wins.
Do you think
we haven't got the team for that?
Do you also think
but your center back plays for England, you had some players.
Do you think a part of the reason why Southampton also fired? Who got fired first, the Wolves coach or your guy?
Wolves coach.
And
they played a day earlier.
A day earlier. That's what I thought. So you think a part of it is like, hey, we got to fire our guy to find a new guy before they find probably the guy that we should probably get. That's next. No, is it two different criteria for both teams?
Yeah, because Wolves are hiring Vitor Pereira from Al Shabab, who he was a manager of Porto previously. He's a Portuguese guy.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, because most of the Wolves squad is Portuguese or Brazilian,
mm-hmm.
They're going back to the whole thing they tried with Nuno and Bruno Lage and people, where they're trying to bring in people that fit that mold, to try and get a bit of that old Wolves spirit back, where they had they had that majority Portuguese speaking team being managed by a Portuguese manager. So they're trying that again. Vitor Pereira he's a good manager, but he would have never been in the running for our job because of the setup of the club.
Right.
So he's a very specific Wolves hire if he goes there, which is sounding like it's pretty much nailed on. So I don't think we were ever in the market for the same guys. There was big rumours that Ollie Solskjaer was going to be the Wolves manager because he was at their game against Ipswich.
I saw that.
But he's good friends with Kieran. Like Kieran McKenna was on his staff.
Oh, the Ipswich, yeah.
At United, and so apparently there was nothing in there. He was just at a game, and it just happened to be the one where a manager got fired. So, I feel for Gary O'Neill. He did really well in such difficult circumstances at Wolves last season to keep them up, with coming in without even having pre-season. So it's kind of bad that they lost Neto and Kilman this season, didn't really give them the money to replace them, and then expected miracles. But I mean, Wolves have been a disgrace with the fights at the end of games recently. Cunha is going to be on a large ban after elbowing guy in the head, pulling his beard and snatching his glasses off his face. That was wild. Have you seen that?
Nah. Who was that man? Go ahead.
One of the Ipswich staff. Cunha there's like some melee going on, and Cunha's just gone up and give him an elbow to the back of the head. The guy spun round. He's pulled on his beard and then grabbed his glasses off his face. He's gonna get a big ban for that. Aït-Nouri already got suspended got a red card for what he was doing after the game. So if you add all this to the fact that Lamina was trying to fight people after the last Wolves game, something's obviously not right there, and that's why the manager's lost his job, because there were just clearly people just losing their shit left, right, and center. So
that's their three best players. So they lost their coach, and they are going to be without two of their three best players when the new coach comes in. And then they switched somebody from captain, and Semedo is the captain now.
Yeah, so Lamina lost the captaincy because of that fight after the West Ham game, where he tried to fight Bowen and then tried to fight one of his own coaches. It's. I mean, I wish our players were showing some heart in that respect. I was just walking off like it was a funeral. So yeah, at least the Wolves ones are showing some fight. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if their manager can get them going. I hope he can't, because I want other people to suffer with us.
Hilarious. Speaking of suffer, there's another podcast derby midweek, because Carabao Cup, right?
Yeah, quarterfinals.
Is Man United playing Spurs. Is that what's up?
Probably.
Let me see. Let me,
Yeah.
let me make this official. So that's what's up, right?
Spurs' next 2 games are you and then Liverpool.
Martin, what do you think of your chances, man? Midweek, I think Thursday. You think you
What
can
I
beat
think
us?
about our chances, I think we're gonna win one of those games, but I don't know which one, and we're gonna lose the other one.
Yeah, you guys like to alternate. Let me see. Tottenham. Oh, it's being played at home. At your home. You don't think you could beat us?
I think we can. I mean, we did win at Old Trafford, but it was a different manager. I think you guys played. You showed some nice improvement in the last game against City. There were some elements, although the City was horrific, but there were some elements that I liked in your guys' play. I think it's going to be a more difficult game for us probably, and well, let's see who plays. Let's see if he goes back to Pedro Porro and some other guys, then maybe we cannot win. But if he plays some guys that play actually in the first half of that Southampton game that were impressive, like Spence and Bergvall, maybe it's time to give them more chances, or even Gray. Gray was pretty good. I like Gray. I think he's a talented player. Maybe he should play.
You think Pedro Porro, right?
Pedro Porro costs us like half of the goals.
I know you hate him, but he's also responsible for at least either assist-wise or like a quarter of your goals. Like Pedro Porro is always doing something offensively. Do you think they've been playing him too much? Like to go back and forth like that down the wing, and then game after game in all these competitions, do you think like it's good that they put in Spence so he got to rest in the middle of the season and maybe
I think
like
he needs some more rest, in my opinion.
Listen,
For me, he would be perfect as a 12th guy, like a guy who comes in when you need, to create some havoc in the last 30 minutes of the game. Perfect. Put him in. Put him on the wing. Put him in. But he just doesn't defend. He just doesn't defend. That's the problem, that we lose most of the goals from that side, and we close that side in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Southampton is not a very creative team. It's not a very dangerous team. It's not like they were, very, very difficult to stop. But
About to say, don't read too much into anything good your players did against us, because it was a training session. I was playing against mannequins.
But what I'm saying is harder to play against Fernandes or even Ahmad, who was really sensational in the last 15 minutes of the City game. It's going to be harder to play those guys. But I still think if we play more conservative defensively, which was the problem before, play a little bit more conservative, I think we can win this game. Liverpool game. It's so hard to figure out, really.
The only way you guys are conservative is when you go 5-0 up. Like you 5-0 up, and that was a fine only time when Postecoglou was like, all right, let's chill a little bit, because all the second half highlights were Southampton almost scoring on you guys, which means you weren't going forward. So
I think there were a couple of chances, but yeah, I agree. Southampton had more chances.
Yeah, but so we got that. I don't know. Maybe hopefully we could beat you guys. I don't know. We're still a work in progress. I like some of the steel and the metal that we showed. I like that Marcus Rashford that's basically been called out. He did tweet something positive after, but I don't know if that's going to change his mindset and make him get back into the squad and be as effective and fulfill his full potential as a Man United player until he's here or not. So I don't know, but Garnacho needs to get the message. I don't know how him being left out will affect him.
Well, you were much better without him. I'll tell you that. You were much better without
him. We can be better with him too. It's just tough. But if he's done the stuff that he's been accused of, like leaking the lineups, and we talked about it a little bit earlier.
Oh wow!
I'm kind of like off him. Plus, he's a bad decision maker on the pitch, and if he's leaking the lineups, he's a bad decision maker off the pitch. It's like, what a head case. And it's crazy because United is already going through some things, but we'll always find some extra shit to go through. Like Rashford being left out is not because he's been doing what he's supposed to be doing, and Garnacho being left out. It's not because he's been doing, like last week we lost, and then we lost Dan Ashworth. We had our coach fired already. Mason Mount's getting injured. We got new owners, and then they're saying we shouldn't have bought the players we bought because those are Ten Hag players, and you're going to fire the coach anyway. So we're just going through enough, you know. And it's like, who needs Garnacho or his brother or whoever's say it's not them. Who's leaking the lineups? Like, and why? What mole from another club do you have working as staff on our goddamn team? That person should be flushed out.
That's crazy, but it has to be someone who's not happy with playing time or with the coach.
But it also doesn't have to be a player, right? It could be the janitor that goes through the trash can who's a City fan or something. You know, it could be anybody. You know.
Yeah, true. I don't like personally the progress of Garnacho. He was sensational when he first came through. But I think he doesn't defend. I think he's not a very good team player. I actually like the lineup you play against City as your best lineup. I think that's probably the best lineup.
Yeah, I liked it too, because even if we had to like use Casemiro, he'd come on fresh against tired players. So I think like that's a way to get the best out of Casemiro and Eriksen, not starting them like and against these fresh teams.
Cheering guys up. I saw he was the first one to run to Ahmad.
Yeah. You see how fast he ran to Ahmad? He was fresh, fully rested. That means he was already at game pace. What else do we have coming up in the Carabao Cup? Is this the Carabao? I want to make sure I got this. Because then I see, is this right? Is this? No, that's Premier League. Let's see what other games are in the Carabao Cup this.
It's us versus Liverpool.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Damn. At Liverpool. Well, at least that's Southampton. You going to that game? Or you're done with games after?
No. My next game is going to be West Ham on Boxing Day, which should, depending on how things go, should be the first home game for the new manager, whoever that is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be there. I think whoever gets the job, their first game will probably end up being Fulham at the weekend, possibly. Or who knows? Boxing Day, I might be there for the manager's first game, full stop. But it will definitely be the first home game, depending on how quickly they can get someone in. But yeah, there's the other games are Newcastle, Brentford, and Arsenal, Palace.
And Newcastle, Brentford. Brentford lost 2-0 to City, or 2-1 to City this weekend. But that was a game.
Chelsea,
that was Chelsea. My bad. But that was a banger of a game. And Jackson again scored. Cucurella scored. Goddamn, Jadon Sancho. Like, this is what I don't understand. Like, there were, when we got rid of Sancho, there were like these news articles that explained like what happened. And from the irritation, the tweet, and all the issues with Ten Hag, and they would say some of the players would call Jadon Sancho slow, and he looked slow when he played for us. Where did all this speed come from in a blue shirt?
He was fast when he played for Dortmund. He was very fast.
I know, but then you're like, all right, it looks fast because it's Germany, right? Then he comes to England and he plays for us and he looks slow. But then the speed is back now.
But you know what that means? That means that he didn't try hard for Ten Hag. That he, sometimes when you don't like the manager or you're like depressed maybe, or you're not giving your 100%, it's I think the Ten Hag thing, that he just didn't like him. He felt like Ten Hag did a lot of things to Sancho. He left him out of the team. He singled him out. He talked about him publicly. I mean, if I was Sancho, if he's kind of a sensitive guy and he doesn't, some of those guys needs encouragement. And if they're not getting encouraged and they feel that like they're being bullied or they're being singled out by a manager, they're just apathetic and they're not trying hard. And I think that's the case with him. And now it looks like the manager likes him and he feels love from the manager and he's giving his best. And so he's one of those players that you show him love, he will play great. You bully him, he will be 1/10 of a player.
Isn't this like your guy, Postecoglou, he went in on Werner a little bit, and you
And
guys.
because Werner was
So exactly, but
for a goal, if the goal is the option, he wouldn't be able to make it in.
But and he had a right to. So maybe Ten Hag had a right to. Like another player on slot, somebody went in on another player, another coach went in on another player this week, and it's like even Amarin, he leaves Rashford out and makes statements about him after. They were cryptic, but you get it. You know what I mean? You get it. And it's like, did he lose Rashford? As a matter of fact, he can't even lose Rashford because you didn't have him. You know what I mean? Because the way he's been playing, nobody's had him since Ten Hag's first year. So
the other one was Ange calling out Timo Werner after they played Rangers midweek.
Mm-hmm. So coaches do it, and some get away with it, and some don't. It's just, I don't know. It's just when do you know when to do it? I've seen coaches do it and get away with it. I've seen coaches do it and not get away with it. Are there any games this weekend coming up we should cover before we go to the fantasy league?
I mean, let's have a look. Villa City could be interesting. City have got to try and turn this around.
Two teams struggling because Villa lost this weekend, last minute too. Like to was it Forest?
Yeah, they got turned around. They got turned around. And obviously Spurs Liverpool will be pretty big.
Martin, what you're gonna play United and then go to Liverpool? What do you think?
I wouldn't be surprised if we win both games and then lose the next 3 against or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised, really. I don't think we can win 5 games in a row. I'll tell you that.
Not many teams can. I know Chelsea just did.
Chelsea, and this is the best example of a team that is struggling to find the right manager, and when they finally find one, you see the change immediately. I mean, they went from being an average Premier League team to being a contender just because of hiring the right manager, just because of that.
Are you sure your boy Pochettino couldn't have done this?
He didn't.
He didn't, but I'm looking at Maresca right now. He ain't got no injuries. Like, there was no Nkunku last year. Plus he got Maresca got a Jackson who's had 1 year in the league. Like 1 year in the league, in your bank account, it's like that gives you the confidence for him to do what he's doing now. You know what I mean? And then
it's a little bit better.
Madueke is a little bit mature. Then you added Neto. Like Pochettino didn't have Neto. He didn't have Sancho. He had Mudryk. Like Mudryk don't even play now. And then I guess I can give him credit for towards the end of the season, Caicedo was playing good, but now, like yesterday, he was great. Cucurella didn't really become a Chelsea player until this summer when he won the Euros. I think that gave him more confidence to be the player he is now. I always want to give Pochettino some credit for this team, but Maresca's not stupid.
Some credit, but not really a lot of credit. And we'll see with U.S. national team. It might be a better fit for Pochettino than Chelsea. Maybe he'll do better as a manager of national team of United States. I don't think he did very well at Chelsea. I mean, you can find excuses for him why he didn't do well, but objectively he didn't do very well.
I don't know. He went on a great streak towards the end of this, like a long one of like undefeated games. I think they picked up they were the best team probably besides Man City towards the end of the season.
Okay. I mean, that's a good argument for him. I mean, I like Pochettino. He was the best manager we've had in the last 15 years. Yeah. No doubt.
You want to do fantasy?
Probably the best Southampton's manager too in the last 15 years.
Koeman did more. Koeman achieved more. Fantasy football, I did okay this week. It was my defense that killed it for me this week. I had Hall
You didn't have
got 50.
Southampton's defense, did you?
No, I got a clean sheet
did.
from
I had one.
I got a clean sheet from Martin's favorite player, Pedro Porro, because he came on early for Udogi. So he got full clean sheet points. I had Gabriel got me 9 points for Arsenal. Hall got me 15 points for Newcastle. My forwards did nothing though. I had João Pedro, Visser, and Watkins. They did nothing for me, but I got 55 points this week. Martin only got 38. So I gained on Martin. I'm closing the gap again. The top is exactly as it was though. Ahmad Zekri still number one. He's broken the 1,000-point mark. Brian Avina is still in second. He's broken the 1,000-point mark. Just those two. Joey Duda's almost there. He's third. He's on 998.
Yeah. All right,
So
Joey.
he's 2 points away. He'll crack it this week. The 1,000. So yeah, those guys are up there. Whereas I'm on 835. Martin's on 866. Martin's 17th. I'm 21st. So we got some catching up to do to those guys.
That's not bad. When you said those guys were on 1,000 or broke the 1,000, I felt like, how far are you guys behind? But that's like the top of the table right now in the real Premier League. Like, there's a lot of players or a lot of teams in a small group of numbers points that separate them.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to catch the top of the table, but yeah, I'd like to get up a little bit higher if I can. But we'll see how these coming weeks go. Who did I transfer out? Who did I get rid of this week? Did I get rid of anyone? I might still have my transfer left. Oh yeah, I still got my transfer left. I've got to have a think about who I decide to discard. But yeah, there's some decisions coming up. I got rid of Haaland though the other week, so I've got Salah, Saka, Palmer.
So why did you start Salah this weekend?
Yeah, I captained Salah. He got an assist and that was it.
Hmm.
I needed a goal from him, but he did nothing for me.
Well,
it's interesting because the next game is, I still have Haaland. The next game is Villa versus City. I have both Watkins and still Haaland. And now the question is, and we didn't talk about, or maybe you guys did, Villa against City. That could be an interesting game.
As far as fantasy is concerned, they didn't start Ollie Watkins this week. They started Duran. So you better be careful. You don't know who Villa's going to start.
In general, this like, what if Villa beats City? That means City will be like out of top four for really good. You know?
Where's this game being played?
And Villa.
Villa's struggling too. That's the thing. Like, they won a game last week, but they lost this week, and they were losing before that. They're on an almost as bad a run, and their run has been simultaneous with Man City.
Okay.
But what do you think? Villa versus City.
I think if the City loses another game, I think the heads will start rolling. I think they have to make like drastic changes.
Like what? Fire Pep?
No, not fire Pep. Although Pep might just decide to take a break. He might say, "Hey, I've done enough with this team. There's nothing I can do." Or they might just bench De Bruyne for good and some other players and just completely refresh the team and get some new players into January and just say goodbye to and tell them, hey, De Bruyne, go to Saudi Arabia or MLS from January. Hey, sell Haaland to Real Madrid. I don't know. They might do some changes. They might do some major changes if they lose another game.
Do any of you write City off at this point? Do you think it's done? The wheels are off the wagon and there ain't no Jack?
I mean, it gets harder every week when they keep dropping points for them to potentially come back from it. But I mean, yeah, I think they'll stumble through till January and probably make one sign-in, maybe that Rodri replacement or Rodri fill-in until he's back. But they need to get more out of their attacking midfielders. Like if you look at like Grealish and Foden and like the numbers they've put up in the last like even like before this bad spell started, they've not been doing much this season at all in terms of goals and assists, and that used to be where a lot of it came from. And Doku's hot and cold. They've not really got any other strikers if Haaland isn't on it either. Whereas like they had Alvarez to come in last season, and contribute. So yeah, I just don't really know. They need something. I think they need a Haaland backup and a Rodri stand-in, and that will fix a little bit for them. But yeah, they need to get that attacking midfield firing from the players they've got there. So Savinho and Doku and Grealish and Foden and Bernardo, and I think De Bruyne will get back up to speed again. You know, he's lost a little bit, but I think he'll be doing bits again soon. So yeah, I think they'll come back. Pep maybe, I don't think he'll walk away. I don't think he'll get fired. So he's there. I don't think if he did ever walk away, it wouldn't be after a disastrous period. I think he'd want to go out with the team winning on his own terms. So yeah, regardless of what happens, I think, you know, he'll try and salvage what he can this season. I think there'll be an overhaul in the summer, and then he'll try and do something. You know, they'll try and throw some money at it in his last year to see what he can do.
You don't think? I mean, you could go into the academy and start using these kids that they normally sell off to people and that thrive somewhere else. Like in the summer, I saw some impressive games when they played Barcelona and they use a lot of their kids. I was like, these kids look good. And I feel like they should it's a great time to like start mingling some of these kids with the experience of a De Bruyne, a Bernardo Silva, a Gundogan, and like just put some youth in their midfield. And I feel like some of their buys have not worked out, like the Calvin Phillips thing. And is it what's the guy that caused the penalty against us?
Nunez, I think.
Nunez, like, yeah, normally they buy their purchases are spot on. And some of their purchases are just a year too young to help them. So at the way they need them to help them. So yeah, we'll see. I think that game against Villa might be a tie. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. And as far as West Ham, I thought they were having a terrible season. They're like 2 points behind us. And they tied today with Bournemouth.
Yeah, they're okay. But I mean, some of the losses they've had have been ugly. Like they've had some teams really run through them. I think that's where the upset has come from the fans.
Yeah, like the way they got beat, when they do get beat, it looks bad. Like fire the coach bad. But they actually are 19th. No, they're 14th. So I guess Lopetegui is safe for now. You know? So he might survive the season. Anybody else got anything they want to add before we bounce?
Not really. I think we covered everything. I still want to encourage Lee to believe. You know, if the right manager, I feel like let's look at the table. I mean, I have to look at the table.
Look at the table, Martin, because
look at the table, Premier League table. Let's
no
team has ever survived on this points at this stage of the season.
Yeah, but you look at it differently. Look, I'm looking at it right now. So Leicester have 14 points. We have 5. It's only 9 points to make up. So 9 points. Everton is 15. The Crystal Palace is 16. So it's within 9, 10, and 11 points. It's not impossible for the rest of the season. You have still 22 games to play. You only have to make up 10 points.
Not between now and the end of the season, though. 15 points will not keep us up. We need title-winning form.
No, but I'm saying make up 10 points, you know, to get ahead of either Everton, Crystal Palace, or Leicester.
So say we were like the minimum is usually 40 points to stay up. That's the target for teams trying to stay up.
It's going down more like 35.
This season we might be able to get away with 35.
Yeah.
That means we need to win 10 more games. We're 16 games in. We've won 1.
Or like win 7 games and get goals, you know.
Yeah, I can't see it happening. Not with this squad. this squad's not good enough. So yeah, we'll see. All become clearer, I think, in the next couple of weeks as we get a new manager and see what sort of impact they have. But maybe we'll get a Leicester new manager bounce like they did with Rude and win 2 games and then be dreadful again because they got absolutely opened up by Newcastle.
Yeah.
This week, if I had to pick now, I think it's us. I think it's us, Wolves, and Leicester. I think Ipswich might have enough, but Ipswich are also actually like they're huffing and puffing. They're awkward to play against, but they're not winning. They've only won 1 more game than we have. So I think it's 4. I think it's 3 from those 4. I mean, we're down, and then it's another 2 from Leicester, Wolves, Ipswich. No one else is in trouble, in my opinion. I think Everton and Palace have got enough. So it's 3 from 4.
Palace is tricky. I think Palace can go on a losing streak because they didn't lose. They're unbeaten in 5 games, but still only have 16 points. So they can lose like 5 games now.
Well, they slapped up Brighton in their derby game.
Yeah.
This weekend at Brighton as well, which was impressive.
Yeah. I think they turned the corner. Like they started the season mad slow, and their manager was in jeopardy of like, how did this guy end the season like it was last year, and then like go into this start the season in a rut? But now, like that Brighton win and just other points that they've gotten this season, pretty impressive. You know, I heard Liverpool might try to get. Is it Liverpool? Somebody's going to try to get Guay.
Newcastle were trying on the summer as well.
Yes, Newcastle was trying, but I think because Liverpool. So what?
What about Eze? Somebody will take Eze.
I mean, if they want to sell their team into the championship, they could do that because that's what's going to happen. You sell all these players.
He could be a guy that goes to City, like Eze. He could be a guy that they could try to get.
Yeah. I never got why City got Grealish. I know he helped them win the treble, but because when I talk to Lloyd, Grealish is a midfielder.
Yeah.
City plays him as a winger. He doesn't, even though he helps out, when City have the limited scoring options, you don't need a Grealish playing left wing. You need somebody who's lethal. And, you know, that they've just made I think Alex was saying it early, they've made a bunch of mistakes that have added up to this moment. And it's really hurting them. So any last words? That's it?
Yeah, how about Grealish goes to Southampton on loan? Here's here.
I've never seen Martin be this positive for anything.
Yeah, because I felt bad. You know, this game I really felt bad, man. I mean, if we were like at the fighting for the title and that was a decisive game, then I would be happy. But that didn't feel right, you know.
Lee, do you accept Martin's pity?
It's not a pity. It's just, you know, it's just like I said, we might have done a favor to Southampton this season.
Yeah, definitely did do us a favor. But I know it's bad when we're getting pity from Spurs fans coming off the back of getting smashed up by Chelsea last week.
Exactly. That's what
so I'm sure they'll revert back to this. We gave Spurs a nice little break from their own troubles. Because, you know, Andrews had some pressure on him before this game, but we gave him the night off. He didn't need to even coach that team. He just got to stand there and watch. So yeah, he's gonna have to earn his money again over these next few weeks with you and Liverpool, and then a trip to Forest after that. Not easy.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, all right, y'all. Thanks for joining. Interesting conversation. Learned some things. Besides the fact that Manchester's red, I'm going to keep saying that. It just well deserved. What did you think about us, Martin?
I told you already. I think I saw glimpses of a new manager doing some interesting things that I liked, and hopefully he'll keep it up.
Yeah, I saw the glimpses too. So let's see if we can take them glimpses and expand on them against you guys at Tottenham. We owe y'all one.
I think we'll play different teams. Both teams will play like we'll experiment with the rosters, because that's a Carabao Cup side. I don't think you'll play your strongest team. I don't think we will play our strongest team. I think
Ange will play his strongest team.
He didn't against City last round. We've made changes.
You played a stronger team than they did.
Yeah, but still, it was like 4 guys that normally don't play that played.
You know why you guys will play your strongest team? Because of what Ange said. Ange said, I win a trophy in my second season. Usually, and this is...
That's the only way he can call it a success this season, because so far it hasn't been.
Yeah, I expect to see a strong team in my team. I'll be shocked after what Ange said and knowing that this is the quick route to shut everybody up, because he ain't never going to hear the end of it if he don't win something. And this is, I don't think he wants to blow this opportunity.
Okay.
All right. But all right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe on all the platforms. Leave comments. Merry Christmas. Enjoy the holidays in December. And we'll see you guys next week and see where everybody landed. All right. 1.